Between floors, between choices. I was carrying a box of things I should have thrown away 2 apartments ago when the elevator shuddered and decided to be a room. The emergency light blinked awake like a pulse under skin. A thunderclap folded the night in half, and all at once the building felt like a ship with bad manners. The box was light but louder than it needed to be. An envelope with ticket stubs, a Polaroid that made me look like a version of myself who believed in hats, a letter I never mailed because my wife Nora prefers the tense called doing. I wasn't going to read any of it. I was just going to take it down to the dumpster like a decent husband and perform the modern sacrament of disposal. Between floors 6 and 5, the elevator stopped. The numbers on the panel gave up on counting and just glowed. I pressed the red button, told a recorded voice our box size and our fears, and got the expected reply. A technician is on the way. The way stretched unknown and slippery. Hello, a voice said, not from the speaker, from the hallway above us. I looked up at the seam where the doors meet. A circle of warm light slid through like a halo that didn't pick a side. Someone else, the voice asked. Someone, I said, with a box of questionable nostalgia. A soft laugh. It's Elise. I live on 7. I was about to take the stairs when the lights flickered. Thought I'd be brave and try the elevator. My timing is cinematic. It's Jacob, I said. 6B. Most people call me Jake and then apologize for the informality like they stole something. Nice to meet you between floors, Jake. We waited together apart. Rain punched the roof with both fists. The building generators coughed, reconsidered, shrugged. I took a breath and smelled dust, metal, and a faint trace of oranges that didn't belong to me. You okay down there? She asked after a while. I'm good, I said, and then because it was a night for confessions in small font, added, I'm carrying a box that feels like evidence. Court or museum? She asked. Depends on whether I look at it with my lawyer or my curator face, I said. Got it, she said. I have a storage unit like that. It's mostly a shrine to things I thought were my personality. The elevator made a sound like a decision reconsidered. I sat on the box, which felt like justice. The emergency light hummed a note I couldn't place. Tell me about Nora, Elise said. The way people sometimes ask about your spouse when they need to hear you say it. She labels the pantry like it's a library, I said. She bakes when she's angry and cleans when she's sad. She wears a ring that used to be her grandmother's and looks at me like she's checking the weather on a day with no clouds. She sounds like someone who always returns the cart, Elise said. She is. I swallowed. I'm taking old letters to the trash because I ran out of excuses for why they should keep living rent-free. Elise was quiet. Then, I'm standing in a stairwell because I didn't want to go back to my apartment and practice a fight I'm not ready to have. Practice. I say things in my head first, she said. I rehearse every difficult conversation until it sounds like a TED talk given by a ghost. It works. And then I meet a real human and use none of it. The speaker crackled. Technician is 15 to 20 minutes out. The voice sounded like someone who had never been between floors. Elise exhaled. Do you need water? I have a bottle. I'm okay, I said, and then, because honesty can be a game if you let it, but I could use a story. Tell me why the stairwell is safer than your living room. She laughed softer this time. Because my living room knows my tells. The couch is where I practice staying. The door is where I practice leaving. The stairwell is just motion. She paused. My husband is named Daniel. He's good at almost everything except pretending. We promised each other the big promises and then filled our days with small ones we forgot to make. He wants bobbies. I want an oxygen mask. That collects poorly in a budget spreadsheet. The elevator sighed as if it, too, had opinions about budgets. Do you love him? I asked, because I'm not brave when it matters and I overcompensate when it doesn't. Yes, she said, but lately the love feels like a houseplant. We keep moving to different windows and blaming the sun. I pictured our own fig tree, the one Nora declared low maintenance, in a tone that was a dare. I water it on Tuesdays because that's what the care card says. It still has opinions. Do you love Nora? She asked. Yes, I said, but lately I love her like I love electricity. I notice it most when it's gone. I miss the way she used to say my name as if it were a question she wasn't tired of asking. Thunder folded again. Somewhere above us, a door opened and closed with the finality of an argument rehearsed to completion. Jake, she said, as if we'd moved a square closer on a board game, what's in the box? A letter from someone I almost ran away with once, I said. We didn't. We booked tickets, canceled them, and fell back into our lives like cushions. It was 10 years ago and 3 hours ago at the same time. There are ticket stubs from a movie that convinced us we were brave. There's a photo from a day we promised to forget. There's a list of reasons we should not do the thing we wanted to do, and a list of reasons that make me blush because I wrote them like a poet who sells office supplies. Elise made a sound that wasn't quite a laugh. I have lists like that, she said. They're mostly titled after, as in, after he changes jobs, after I get promoted, after I'm less tired, after the house stops echoing. She was quiet a long moment. Sometimes I think the only honest after is after I tell the truth. Technician is 10 minutes out, the speaker said cheerfully, as if timing were morality. You smell like oranges, I said before I could check the impulse. Sorry, that's a weird sentence. The elevator is a confession booth. It is, she said, not offended. It's the hand lotion they give us at the clinic. I'm a nurse. Pediatrics. Today a 5-year-old told me he's not afraid of shots if I sing the dinosaur song. I don't know the dinosaur song, so I sang the alphabet out of order. He said that was chaos and then stopped crying. Bless him, I said, and you. I'm not fishing, she said, but that felt nice. We sat there with the emergency hum making a nest around our words. I took out the Polaroid, looked at my younger face holding a paper cup like it contained an answer. I put it back in the envelope with more ceremony than the rest of the box deserved. Do you ever want to be the version of yourself who doesn't need to narrate his own choices? Elise asked. All the time, I said, but that guy does more damage and writes fewer apologies. We heard footsteps in the shaft, a voice calling down, the metallic song of tools unashamed of their usefulness. The doors trembled. Before this opens, Elise said, voice low now closer, can I tell you something I'm not supposed to tell strangers between floors? You can tell me something you pretend is for me and actually is for you, I said. I almost texted a man from work tonight, she said. He has a smile like a shortcut. He thinks my jokes are brave. He calls his hunger new friends. I wrote rooftop and deleted it and wrote window and deleted it, and then I came to the stairwell so I could at least tell the truth to the air. If the elevator hadn't been stuck, I might have gone back upstairs and written forget it, and then texted him anyway. I let the words land. They didn't explode. They were heavy and careful, like dishware you carry with 2 hands because you respect it. Thank you, I said, for trusting me with something you needed to hear yourself say. And you, she asked, would you have thrown the box away? I would have put it beside the trash and told myself that was progress, I said. Then I would have fished it out in the morning. I know that man. He writes lists called later. Metal scraped. A rectangle of brighter light cut the elevator in half. A face appeared, a man in a hard hat whose expression said he had rescued many people from rooms that forgot how to move. "We're going to pry you to level," he said. "Don't panic, doors may jump." Elise's fingers curled over the top edge of the doors like a pianist in rest position. "See you in a second," she said. "Between 5 and 6. The doors jerked. The floor rose, side, aligned. They opened with the theatrical flourish of a magician proud of the obvious trick. Elise stood in the hallway, rain on her shoulders, hair coming loose in a way that looked like it knew what it was doing. She was smaller than I'd imagined and larger in the ways that matter. We both blinked at each other, suddenly shy, as if we hadn't already traded a small warehouse of private inventory. "You okay?" she asked. "I am," I said, stepping out with the box. "And you?" "I am," she said. "And I'm going to go upstairs and have the conversation with Daniel that I keep rehearsing badly. Not the rooftop version, the kitchen one." I nodded. "I'm going to actually throw this away," I said, lifting the box, "and then go home and tell Nora what I almost didn't do." We stood there for the length of a polite elevator ding. "I'm not going to ask for your number," she said. "I'm not going to offer it," I said. We smiled like people who recognize an exit and take it while it's still honest. "Good night, Jake," she said. "Good night, Elise." The rain had downgraded itself to reasonable. I walked out to the dumpsters, lifted the lid, and looked at the dark space like it might preach. I hesitated. Then I set the box down with the care I didn't give it when it made sense to keep. It made a soft sound, like a drawer closed in the room next to yours. On the way back, I checked our building group chat. Someone had already posted a photo of a candlelit hallway with the caption, "Power's back in 5. Let there be slightly less darkness." Below it, Elise had written, "If anyone needs oranges, I have too many." In our apartment, Nora had left a lantern on the kitchen counter and a note under a magnet shaped like a lemon. "You okay? I heard the elevator. Text me if you're stuck between floors. I will bring snacks and opinions." The opinions part was underlined twice. She was on the couch with a blanket, half asleep in the way that means available. I sat on the coffee table so my knees touched hers. "Hey," she said, blinking. "You were gone longer than that box deserved." "The elevator staged an intervention," I said. She smiled. "Did it work?" "Yes," I said, and told her the whole thing, not with the poetry of someone trying to be forgiven in advance, but with the prose of someone who wants to be seen before the verdict. I told her about the storm and the emergency light and the voice through the doors. I told her about Elise in the stairwell and Daniel, and the rooftop text that didn't become a night. I told her about my box and my lists, and the reason I keep wanting to be the man who can throw away what needs throwing away. Nora listened the way a good doctor reads a chart, not for drama, for data. When I finished, she took my left hand and turned my ring once, gently, like she was checking whether it still fit. "I don't want us to be the kind of people who tell the truth because the elevator breaks," she said. "I want us to tell it because the power is on." "Me too," I said. "I think I use storms as excuses. It's lazy." "We've been polite," she said, "and busy, and good at groceries. That's not a marriage, that's a coworking space with benefits." She took a breath. "I want to know what's in the boxes before you take them downstairs. I want you to know where I keep mine." "I want that," I said, and discovered that I did actually want that, not because it sounded noble, but because it sounded like oxygen. We made tea because that is what people in stories do, and because mint was what we had. While the kettle breathed, Nora leaned against the counter and said, "I almost texted someone last week." She said it in the tone of someone placing a fragile thing on a table between us so we both see it break or not break together. A guy from work. He's new. He laughs like he's afraid if he doesn't you'll turn off the light. I didn't send it, but I wrote it. Thank you, I said, because sometimes thank you is sturdier than it sounds. For telling me first. She nodded. I think I wanted to know if I could still make a window. I think I wanted you to be standing on the other side of it. I'm here, I said and meant it. We drank tea and watched the microwave clock reset itself to 12:00 like an optimist. We made a small list on a sticky note, not of rules, but of habits we wanted to try on. Tuesday night walks without phones, the honesty tax paid in the morning when words are less sticky, planting the fig tree in a bigger pot because growth looks ridiculous before it looks right. At 2 a.m., as the storm remembered how to leave, the group chat chimed. Elise again, power stable, elevators back. If you got stuck, I see you. If you need help practicing a scary sentence before you take it to the right living room, I'll be in the stairwell for 10 more minutes with oranges. Nora raised an eyebrow. Your elevator friend. Neighbor, I said, co-founder of the Stairwell Honesty Club. Nora smiled into her mug. Good club, she said. We should start a branch in here. We turned off the lantern together. The apartment exhaled. I didn't feel absolved. I felt awake. Between floors had given me a version of gravity I hadn't known I was missing. I went to bed next to the woman who labels the pantry, and I liked that I could find the tea in the dark. I thought about throwing things away and about planting them instead. I thought about windows that don't require rooftops. And before I fell asleep, I pictured a lemon and a note under it, and a life that could keep electing itself back on without waiting for thunder.